Hello and welcome to Baggins Book Summaries. In this episode we'll be exploring Chapter 17 from J.R.R. Tolkien's classic novel The Hobbit. At the end of Chapter 16, Bilbo is given the Arkenstone to the Elven King and Bard in an attempt to avoid catastrophic conflict. If you enjoy these summaries, please consider supporting the channel by hitting all the normal YouTube buttons and let us know how we're doing in the comment section below. In the aftermath of Smaug's defeat, tensions rose among Thorin and the other factions gathered at his camp. The next day, a messenger arrived requesting Thorin's audience once again. He agreed, but asked for the envoy to come unarmed and in small numbers. A group of 20 individuals, including Bard, the Elven King, and a mysterious old man carrying a casket, arrived later. Bard proposed that Thorin yield some of his gold, specifically mentioning the Arkenstone as a potential bargaining chip. To everyone's astonishment, the old man revealed the Arkenstone from the casket, leaving Thorin stunned. At first, Thorin refused to buy back his own heirloom, but his anger grew when Bilbo, who had been eavesdropping, confessed that he had given the Arkenstone to Bard's company. Just as Thorin was about to harm Bilbo, Gandalf appeared and defused the situation. Thorin accused everyone of conspiring against him, vowing to never trust wizards or their friends again. Feeling unappreciated, Bilbo reminded Thorin of the service he had rendered and declared that he'd dispose of his share of the treasure as he saw fit. Thorin, feeling betrayed, offered Bilbo 1/14 of the hoard in silver and gold, excluding gems, as his reward. However, he warned that Bilbo would have little support from him or his allies. Later, Thorin ordered Bilbo to get down from the wall, threatening to throw him down if he refused. Bilbo inquired about the gold and silver promised to him, but Thorin dismissed the matter for later discussion. Bard insisted on keeping the Arkenstone until the treasure was fairly divided. Gandalf criticized Thorin for his behavior and expressed hope that things could still change. Consumed by the influence of the treasure, Thorin contemplated reclaiming the Arkenstone with Dain's help and withholding Bilbo's share. Bilbo was then lowered from the wall and left with only the armor given to him by Thorin. Some dwarves felt pity for Bilbo's departure. Bard granted Thorin until the next day at noon to deliver his promised portion of the treasure, warning of consequences if there was deceit. Thorin sent messengers to Dain, urgently informing him of the situation and urging him to come quickly. On the following day, Dain and his well-equipped dwarves arrived at Dale, seeking to restore the kingdom. Bard and Bilbo met them but prevented their passage to the mountain, insisting on waiting for the treasure in exchange for the Arkenstone. The dwarves, prepared for a long siege, started advancing along the eastern bank, ready for battle. Bard mocked the dwarves for their lack of understanding of warfare above ground and planned to attack them from both sides. However, the Elven King hesitated, hoping for a peaceful resolution. Unbeknownst to them, the dwarves took advantage of their hesitation and prepared to strike. Just as the battle was about to commence, a sudden darkness and fierce storm descended. Gandalf appeared, standing between the advancing dwarves and the waiting forces, commanding a halt. He warned of the imminent arrival of Bolg, the leader of the goblins from the north, with a massive army. Bats filled the sky, indicating the approaching enemy. Gandalf called for a council, urging Dain to join quickly. The Battle of Five Armies unfolded unexpectedly between the goblins accompanied by wild wolves and the combined forces of elves, men, and dwarves. The goblins, driven by their deep-seated hatred for the dwarves, sought to seize control of the north. The goblins swiftly marched from the north upon learning of Smaug's death, catching Dain's group off guard. Gandalf, the Elven King, Bard, and Dain devised a plan to lure the goblins into the valley while defending the mountain's spurs. The goblin army, concealed by a cloud of bats, descended upon them, striking fear into their hearts. Bard ordered his forces to take positions on the mountain, with elves on the southern spur and men and dwarves on the eastern spur. The battle began with the swiftest wolf riders leading the goblin vanguard, followed by a main army attacking in fury and disorder. Bilbo, wearing his magic ring, managed to escape danger, but witnessed the horrific battle unfold before his eyes. As the battle raged on, the goblins were momentarily halted by the elves' charge. However, a roar signaled the arrival of the dwarves of the Iron Hills and the men of the lake, who joined the fray and threw the goblins into panic. The elves renewed their assault, while the goblins started retreating. But the goblins scaled the mountain from the other side, launching a surprise attack from above and putting the defenders at a disadvantage. Thorin and his companions, donning shining armor, emerged from the gate and fought with all their might. The dwarves, lakemen, and elves rallied around Thorin, striking back against the goblins. Although victory seemed within reach, the defenders soon found themselves surrounded as goblins and wolves closed in from all sides. Bolg's bodyguard of huge goblins mercilessly assaulted the defenders, and the assault from the mountain intensified. Bilbo, standing among the elves on Ravenhill, felt despair as defeat seemed inevitable. Suddenly, he spotted the eagles approaching, and he cried out in joy. The news spread among the defenders, rekindling hope. However, as Bilbo shouted about the eagles' arrival, he was struck by a stone and fell unconscious. The Battle of the Five Armies is a climactic event in The Hobbit. It marks the culmination of the conflicts and tensions that have been building throughout the story. This segment of the story showcases the complex web of alliances and betrayals among the various factions involved. The conflict between Thorin and Bard, as well as the repercussions of Bilbo's actions, heighten the emotional stakes and add depth to the narrative. The battle itself is a chaotic and intense clash between multiple forces, highlighting the bravery and resourcefulness of the protagonists. It also introduces a new threat in the form of Bolg and his goblin army, raising the stakes and forcing the previously warring factions to unite against a common enemy. Gandalf's role as mediator and strategic advisor becomes crucial in navigating the shifting dynamics of the conflict. Overall, the Battle of the Five Armies serves as a turning point in the story, bringing together various narrative threads and propelling the characters towards the story's conclusion. It explores themes of greed, loyalty, and the cost of war, while showcasing Tolkien's skill in crafting vivid and immersive battle sequences. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Baggins Book Summaries as we find ourselves in the final 3 chapters of The Hobbit. If you did, please give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, and let us know what you think. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss an episode. We have many more exciting adventures from Middle-earth to share with you, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode of Baggins Book Summaries. Until then, happy reading.